Alright guys, we're going to be doing a beginner's guide to the campaign for the 2024 version. We'll be going over all the features and we're going to find them how to do it if you're just starting off playing the game. Just skip all that, it's just backstory stuff, doesn't matter for this. So first thing I'm going to go over is going to be, up here is all of your resources that you have across to all of your provinces and all of your farms, cities, all that stuff. But the first thing I'm going to do is go over the gameplay part. So I like playing on realistic or expert combat difficulty and stuff like that. But what's really important here is the resource management tab, because if you're first starting out, even if you want to play on realistic or expert, like combat difficulties and stuff like that, so the battles are harder, the resource management part of the game right now is really not fleshed out and not very good. So I would recommend playing on easy or medium unless you really want it to be as realistic as possible. But trust me, just do at minimum medium. So the different setting options will do. Easy is everything is in a shared pool for all your provinces and all of your farms, cities, etc. Kind of like other games like Total War or games like, I think Mountain Blade does that too. No, Mountain Blade has it per city. But like Total War will do it for all of your totals put together. Medium is food has to be in the specific cities or farms that is consumed by the population that is there, but all the other resources are in a shared pool. Realistic, you need the specific products. You need the specific resources in the cities that have the buildings to create different products. So like the ones that have military buildings where you're going to try to build Car 98s or something like that, which take 2 wood, 1 iron, you would have to have those resources there. You would have to actually have your wheat in the place where you have bakeries, or your tobacco where you have cigarette factories, things like that. Expert, you have to have all the specific resources in the cities where you want to build buildings to, which I would never even play on that. Just ignore that one. That's just going a step above and beyond. Subtitles, you can enable or disable that if you want. The enemy highlighting, I usually play on it as hover, because it can be kind of difficult to tell who is your ally and who is an enemy unit in the battles. You can either have it fully disabled, which kind of sucks because the people might blend into things like the plants and bushes, which they see right through because they're AIs, but you can't see them. But I usually play on the hover, or you can have them always highlighted, like say if you can't play on high resolution as other people, or high graphic settings as other people, you can have it on always highlighted, so you can see the red highlighted enemies and you can just shoot them, have fun. It's a single player game, play it however you want. This will be split in half for the 2 maximum units on screen. So I would get 100, they would get 100, or you can go all the way down to 60, so it would be 30-30. And these right here just show you how long blood, corpses, and other stuff is on the battlefield. But that's it for that. But this up here, this entire bar up here is kind of useless if you're on expert or realistic or extreme or expert, whatever it's called, difficulty for resource management, because I mean, I guess I can see I have 17 gold, but then I'm gonna have to go through every place and find where I have the gold, which is probably just me in my big city. Yep, there it is. Let's go to, if you click on the battalions, if you move them out right on top of another battalion, you can combine them into one. You can drag them either way, whatever you want. At the beginning, I usually just make them into one big battalion. Then I'll just kill the rebels. I would recommend doing as many battles as you can yourself, because auto-resolving, you always have a chance of losing something good that you might be able to stop from happening yourself if you're doing it on your own. But if you hover over the cities, you can see the population, and you can see their food intake per day, per week, and per month, which previously you had to calculate all that yourself, and it was very complicated. But now it's pretty simple. You can just look at the different cities and it'll show you all the different resources you need. Same with the big city. 5901 is my population, 59, 413, and 1770 for food intake. It'll be the same if you hover over battalions. And for them, they have a unique thing where it tells you what supplies they need, which, they want 2 first aids, alcohol, and cigarettes.
Take cover.
Alcohol and cigarettes will help increase their morale and stuff like that. Food, they need to eat so they don't die. But if you go here, in the city right now, currently, I do have alcohol and cigarettes, I believe. Yeah, I do. Not enough, but if I click supply... Oops. They have now been supplied and don't actually need anything currently. There's also a wounded tab, and then you can cycle back to the garrison or back to the forces. Here we'll show you your units. It'll show you what you have weapon-wise, uniforms, how much ammo, or who has RPGs. You can't actually click on any of the units to customize or anything from here. I'll go over the customization tab later in the video. But let's go over manufacturing and research. So you can manufacture all your different ammo types, attachments, suppressors, sights, RPG ammo, uniforms, which the uniforms do have different armor types and things like that, and different types of helmets, which can absorb different bullets at different rates. Like police have light armor, militia have armor, medium, I think, body armor, and heavy body armor, which makes them more durable the further they go down the line and makes them look different. You can customize all the different weapons. To start off the game, I would try to get to the Kar 98s for longer range fights at the beginning, especially when your enemies have a lot of pistols and shotguns. The bolt-action rifles at that point are pretty good. Then you also have vehicles you can manufacture. So you will see these ones that say 2026. These right here will not unlock until that year of the campaign. So 2025, January 1st, 2025 at 0:00 is when this will unlock, and you can start the research then. If you click something to research, you are now researching that. You cannot undo it. You cannot stop the research from happening. You just have to wait for those 17 days for that to be done. I wish you could stop it and just eat the time that you've wasted researching something. Or if you click it by accident, now I have to wait the whole 17 days to manufacture a Beretta, which I would be going down this line anyways to start it, so I wouldn't even want that. But I think that is all the basics of the research tab. Let's go over the construction tab. So in the construction tab, it's going to show you your entire population statistics here. So it'll show you the people in your republic, employed people, people in production. The more people you have in production, the faster your things will produce. Construction, the more people you have in construction, which by getting research buildings, you can make more scientists. Residential buildings will give you more residents. Banks will give you income. Construction sites will make you more construction workers. Also, so scientists, more scientists you have, the faster you do things. Ministry, it'll affect your diplomacy stuff. You have staff, and then people on sick leave, which just fluctuates all the time. And operating reserves, which is how many reservists you can spawn, and maximum production efficiency, which is currently at 100% for me. You need more residential buildings inside of your farms, stuff like that, to increase your operating reservists. And, you can produce wheat, bakery to produce bread, which you need the wheat to produce the bread. There's all sorts of different buildings. You can make stone, cloth to make uniforms, tobacco to make cigarettes, meat to make canned food, wood, which can turn into boards, military buildings, which is the only building in which you can actually manufacture weapons, armor, uniforms, stuff like that. Otherwise, you'll need to make specific buildings to turn, say, aluminum ore into aluminum. You can actually turn into weapons then, or oil into fuel, turn wheat into alcohol. the list goes on for all the different buildings here. But this is the tab where you can see all that stuff. You can also demolish buildings, which before that was bugged. You can currently do it. Obviously, if this was a real campaign, that would be a mistake I just made right there. But I don't really care because I'm just showing you guys the basics of where to find all of these things in your tabs. Also, I almost forgot to say this. No matter how many provinces you have, which is an issue here, no matter how many bases, provinces you have, you can only produce one thing at a time, which is dumb. So I have to wait now 28 days to make anything and any other thing. So when I have 20 provinces, I can literally make one building at a time, which is to where playing on the easy or medium resource management makes it 10 times easier because there's no reason I shouldn't be able to make one building per province minimum. Like, that just makes way more sense. But it is how it is right now. Also, there's an issue right now where the AI actually doesn't make any buildings. So it could be 2 years into the game. I could have every building here, every single one of my bases is fully decked out, every building made that I want in them. I could come over here, take over these 2 bases, and they will have literally just the base building that it starts with, which would be either a factory or a farm, depending upon where it is. And they haven't made a single thing, which proves to show you that the AI does not manage any resources or anything like that, which is also kind of an issue because, like, the one thing I went to fight, the AI had like 400 plus soldiers, and I'm like, how are you even possibly having food or anything for any of this? Well, it's because they don't actually have any freaking resource management, so they just kind of do whatever they want. But let's move on to, I'm going to skip over the squad editor. I'll go over that last. But let's go to the diplomacy, where you'll have your relations here and what things you already have right here on these guys. You cannot perform any actions with rebels unless you're a rebel. Then if you're a rebel, you can only perform action with rebels, and you cannot make diplomacy decisions with actual governments. But we'll go over all the things here. You can declare war, which is very easy to understand. Go to war. An armistice, which is like a truce. You stop fighting whoever you're at war with, which seems to be a little bugged because I had an armistice deal with someone and they literally attacked me within 8 seconds of the armistice happening. They just said screw it and attacked me anyways. Justify war goals, which every one of these things will have a % chance of actually happening. Just because you click it doesn't mean it's going to be successful. You can also bribe to increase your chances of things happening. So that went from 51 to 91% for me spending $1,500 on it. But as long as you click it, then it'll start. You don't have to do anything else. You can just click back to global menu. But for the premise of what I'm doing, I'm just going to cancel the mission because I'm going to go over the rest of these. But you need to justify the war goals so that way everybody doesn't start hating you for just declaring war on people randomly for no reason. Military access is so that way you can walk through people's territories without them getting mad at you. Then you can revoke military access if you want. Improve relations, which will just increase your relation number on the side over here to be more positive. Non-aggression pact is you and whoever you're doing it with will not attack each other. You can denounce the non-aggression pacts. Trade agreements, you can only trade with people you have trade agreements with, obviously. That's pretty self-explanatory. You can import and export resources, which people you have trade agreements with, you have a % chance of gaining and sending resources back and forth there without using the trading tab. You can denounce the trade agreement. An alliance is a full-on alliance. If someone declares war on you, they are also at war with them. But it doesn't work vice versa, really. If I attack someone, my ally isn't necessarily going to help me, which is kind of annoying. But and you can denounce military alliances also. But, I mean, the diplomacy tab is pretty easy to understand. So I think that's all I'm going to go over for it. Told you what all of them do. Pretty simple. Now let's go to the trading, which is a little more complicated. I wish they would flesh it out a little bit more too. Right now it is currently sorted with the new patch they did. So all of the production type resource stuff is at the top. Then they go into the ammos, the attachments, which is only one right here, and then the weapons. But the one thing I really don't like about the tab is, say this right here is 37 boards, say I want 20, doesn't matter. you have to buy all 37 that is in the stack here. There's nothing to do. The only thing you can do is left click, and it just buys the whole stack. Same thing here, for if you're selling things, the AI would have to buy the entire stack you have there. So splitting it into 2 separate stacks or 3 separate stacks to make them smaller quantities is more likely for the AI to buy them. And if you go here, like if I want to sell my AP85s, I can go to World Market and I can send them all away. And then they will be right here to be bought. Or you can, if I want to sell, say, bread, you can do, smaller quantities for $146, someone could buy 146 bread. It's $1 for a loaf of bread. But I wish it was really, one, it should be sorted by all of the gold ore should be next to each other. I don't really care who is selling it to me. It doesn't really matter at all. You cannot set the prices yourself. Each item is already predetermined for how much each one is worth, no matter how many are in the stack. It's one per quantity is worth X number of dollars. But that's the basic of the trading tab. Let's go over convoys really quick because I didn't go over that. So if you click on anything you have in your inventory here, you can send it to wherever it'll allow you to send it. So some things you can dump it, which will just destroy them, which I have no idea why you would ever do that at all. You can send them to different buildings. Also, if you buy something in the trade tab, it goes straight to your capital. So whatever the capital is of your province, of your faction you started as. So this is my starting faction, which is Sombro. Faro is my capital. It will always be my capital. So everything will always go there. All right, but so things with things like bread, you can actually send them straight to your battalions for them to consume and things like that, or you can sell them, send them to other things. You can click to repeat weekly. So if you know how much food something eats and needs, the convoys. I find the bread and food and stuff to be the most useful thing for convoys. Everything else just seems like I don't even want to bother doing it. The food one seems the most realistic one that I want to do. But you can do it weekly, or you can send a one-time convoy. I would recommend doing the bread as weekly ones, so that way you don't really have to worry about the bread production that much. Once you build a couple bakeries, it should be good enough. Obviously, the more places you start to take over, the more and more bakeries or canning plants you're going to have to make. Also, you can click Move All Supplies. So even though I only have bread clicked right now, when I go to do this, Move All Supplies to select area, it's going to move every single thing in this entire farm to Faro. So now it's starving. So I'm going to send that back. But and you'll actually see the little truck right there going all the way there. That is actually your convoy. So this, when it gets there, it'll get the stuff. But you can use that, what I just showed you, for if, say, I come over here and take over that base, they counterattack me with like 30 or a 30 stack, which would be 300 dudes. I can actually just dump everything that is in that place I just took over back to here and just let them take an empty base for free, which affects you more than it affects the AI because they don't actually use the resources anyways. The economics tab is completely useless as far as I can tell. There's a new tab that they added, which they're intending to do something with, but currently it's just a tab that shows you your in stock, received, spent, in total. Not sure why I would need to see this. All that stuff is at the top menu of the stuff that I have, which, why does it matter how much I've received or spent? Who cares? Like, I don't understand this tab. It doesn't seem to do anything at all, so that's all I'm going to talk about for it. No idea where they're going with that. I wish up here it still showed me like my net values that I'm gaining on these things. It doesn't show you any of that, it just shows you what you've got where. But I believe the last thing that we need to go over is going to be the squad editor. If you are enjoying this kind of content, please consider leaving... If you're enjoying this content, please consider following the channel. But we are going to go on to the squad editor, which currently customizing the infantry isn't very good. This is the same complaint I still had when the stuff came out, and they have not addressed it at all. And it really upsets me. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take, oops, nope. I'm going to take forces, all of my units, and just put them onto one thing to show you this little feature too. Okay, this squad is inside of this base. You can tell because it has a shield there. If you delete the battalion, all of the supplies will go into the base that you are at or the closest one that you are to. Just to show you that. Now, when I go to squad editor, what I did was I selected UMP for all of them just for, you can go through and customize these dudes down to like everything, like the color of their shirt and everything, okay, right? You went through all of this to do this. I gave them all UMPs. I copied to entire squad and I saved the squad and saved the preset, correct? So I go here, create my battalion, which is going to create me a police squad. This police squad would be exactly what I want. I want them all to have UMPs, right? So they're all getting UMPs, they're getting their ammo. If I add RPGs to them, they'll spawn with RPGs too. Now, you would think that since this squad is already made, that its preset is currently saved and is stuck how it is, right? So this squad should just produce me more UMP dudes. But also, if I have more than one squad here, it reinforces one dude at a time from top to bottom. Now, however, if I go back here again and say I want a squad with Kar 98s, I want a police rifleman squad. Pretty simple, right? So I'll copy to the squad, I'll save my preset, and save squad. Now, when I go back over here and start creating another squad, they have the rifles, just like I wanted it to do. However, the issue now arises to, it's not actually the squad itself that is saving the preset, it is the unit type. So these two dudes that just got produced right here, which are supposed to be UMPs, which is what I selected, have Kar 98s. I cannot understand why this is the way that it works. You would think that the system would be able to detect that, hey, when I picked this whole thing was supposed to be UMPs. Now, when I picked this squad, it was supposed to be all Kar 98s, not the next time you reinforce a police unit in the 7th slot, that I want it to be all Kar 98s in the 7th slot now. Like, I don't understand why it does it that way. The best way around this would to be if they created multiple presets you could have for each unit type, then maybe I could select which preset I want when selecting the unit down here. Can't do that. It just spawns me a police squad. Currently, that is how we have to work around it. So if you really want to make your dudes as customized as possible, you have to wait for that unit type on that squad to be completely done reinforcing to 10 out of 10 before going and customizing it again down here, which is very irritating. I wish I could just click David Hughes right here and give him whatever weapon I want right here on this tab, while also, when you're doing all this stuff down here, time is stopped too. So I wish you could have time running and be customizing your dudes over here as it's spawning you guys, right? Like, just let me click, Christopher Cox right here and give him a Kar 98 and give him ammo. But I can't do that. So I just have to wait for them to be done reinforcing, then go make a new squad again, and rinse and repeat. Now, if you click this button right here, which is rearmament the battalion, it's going to give you the best available weapons for what you wanted them as. Like, say I don't have Kar 98s, it'll give them the best available weapon for what they have the most ammo for and things like that. Now, if I do this right now, it just gave them all Kar 98s because I want all my police to have Kar 98s. So that is a good way to, if you change your battalions to be a thing, you don't have to delete them all. If you have enough weapons and ammo, you can do that and it'll select them all to it. But again, if you want multiple squads to be exactly the way you want them to be, don't click that button. Otherwise, you're going to have to delete them and do it all over again. Now, if you just want all police to have the same weapon, all regulars to have the same weapon, stuff like that, that button is useful then because it'll just give you exactly what you clicked down there. But if you want to go into depth of customization for each unit, you do have to do it a long way currently, which I hope they change in the future. But that is currently how it is. I can just show you again. Say I want, an AK MS, I think is the basic AK. Copy to entire squad, save squad. That dude's got an AK. I want him to be rifles. I don't know why. I just want it to be so that way when I populate a squad, that it saves the preset so then I can change it again later or give me multiple presets to pick. It is what it is. Remember, the game is in early access and they will obviously be changing things, adding new features, doing all that kind of stuff. So you have to give them time to do that. But I'm just going over how it currently is in the state of the game that we have right now. But that, I believe, is going to be all of the basic features. I'll go over this real quick right here too, which is the stability, which the more police you have in each base you have, the higher is the stability from them being police officers. And food and alcohol production in the cities also increases stability. Authority, political power, and dictatorship you will get from events and things like that pop up. Like you'll have things to select, will say it'll give you dictatorship or it'll give you political power, give you authority, things like that. But I think that's all the features for the basics of the game to go over for if you're starting a campaign or first time playing. I will be putting out a video of what I do or what you should maybe be looking to do in your first year of the campaign, as it's going through. There are some things that you can do to try to help make the campaign easier or what your goal might be after the first year, which, you could select different goals and do it however you want to do it. And let me know if you want to see a video of the basics of combat and a combat tutorial too. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll be putting out more videos soon.